Caitlin Clark is under contract until 2028. She can't demand a trade, can't test the market, can't even hint at leaving on paper. So why did her agent stroll into a post-game tunnel beside New York's power trio like she owned the place? Because the real game isn't on paper anymore. It's in the fine print of a brand new CBA, and Clark's camp is already bending it. An unprecedented free agency avalanche is coming in 2026. Nearly 88% of projected all-stars will be totally free. No strings, no matching rights. Chaos. While the league hums along like nothing's happening, Kane is playing chess 4 moves ahead, quietly testing clauses, pushing boundaries, and staging photos that scream one word louder than any press conference: leverage. Stay here. In the next few minutes, you'll see how one tunnel photo, one overlooked statistic, and one contract constitution in flux could hand the WNBA's most valuable rookie the keys to the entire league 2 years early. 87.5% of the players projected to be all-stars in 2025 will hit unrestricted free agency the very next summer. Say that slowly. Nearly the entire group of headline names will be free to walk without their teams holding any matching rights. In pro sports, that is not a quirky stat, it is a structural failure alarm. Unrestricted means exactly what it says: total freedom. No tags, no matching, no opt-in clauses a team can activate at the last second. A player can wake up in Indiana in July, take a phone call at noon, sign in Los Angeles by dinner, and start house shopping the next day. Imagine the chain reaction. Overnight, super teams appear in the biggest media markets. Quiet franchises with deep pockets finally decide to spend and grab 2 franchise players in a week. A defending champion loses 3 starters in 48 hours and has no recourse but cap space and prayer. A small market that drafted well for 5 straight years watches its core evaporate in one offseason. The map of power shifts. The league that has been slow and steady for decades becomes musical chairs on turbo. This is not speculation, it is math, contract timing, and a fresh CBA window colliding. Most fans are distracted by nightly box scores, but agents are not, front offices are not. The people who live in clauses and carve careers out of commas know a tidal wave when they see one. And one person has already put her surfboard on the sand: Kane. While the league publicly celebrates parity and growth, Kane is busy in the shadows reading every page of the current agreement and every proposal sitting on the table for the new one. Clark cannot force a move today, but rules are about to be rewritten. The smartest move right now is to test boundaries before the new language locks into place. You do not wait until the stadium is on fire to look for exits. You find the exits, wedge the doors, and leave signs for your friends. Clark is the perfect test subject. She is the face of the league, the ratings engine, the merch queen, the player casual sports fans can name. If Kane can prove that a generational star should not be trapped in a rigid rookie timeline, then every agent will cite that proof 2 years from now. If she can pry open language around early renegotiations, creative opt-outs, revenue sharing triggers, or player input on roster building, the model will be ready just in time for the mass migration. This is not chaos, it is sequencing. Get the precedent on the books while the CBA is fluid. Use Clark's public value as leverage. Turn one player's frustrations into a league-wide discussion point. Then, when the 2026 market explodes, the blueprint is already laminated. Look at the photo again. Caitlin Clark is smiling with Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart in the bowels of Barclays Center. Sandy Brondello is there, hand on Clark's shoulder, calm and comfortable. Standing only a few steps away, almost blending into the bodies, is Kane. To a casual viewer, it is a friendly post-game chat. To anyone who knows how this business works, it is a staged signal. The questions that image plants are the point. Why is Clark so relaxed with the Liberty core? Why is her agent in the shot with her, not upstairs handling calls or off to the side? Why did that specific moment flood social feeds within minutes? The answer is leverage. That photo tells Indiana, do not take her for granted. It tells the league she is as comfortable with champions in New York as she is with teammates in Indiana. It tells rival stars, this is how you position your future quietly. Photo ops are currency. In a world where every angle is filmed, nothing that surfaces repeatedly is an accident. That tunnel chat was not a coincidence. It was a preview trailer for a movie most people have not realized is already in pre-production. The casual handshake was a billboard for the power balance about to shift. And once it hit timelines, fans started theorizing, executives started texting, and reporters started digging. Mission accomplished. Clark did not enter the league as a nice rookie story. She entered as a business model in sneakers. From day one, she meant sold-out lower bowls, a surge in television audiences, and an endless supply of highlights for social media. That kind of heat exposes every flaw if the organization cannot handle it. Injuries were the first stress test. 10 games gone, 5 from a left quad, 5 from a groin strain. Cameras caught her grimacing, blinking back tears. Fans expected concern and a clear update. Instead, the head coach casually told the media she was just feeling a little something. One sentence tossed away, but it told everyone paying attention that communication between star and staff was frayed. Then came usage. Clark is lethal in transition. She wants the ball early, loves to read an unsettled defense, and punishes teams that fail to match up. She said it plainly, "We need to do a better job getting me the ball in transition. That is when I am at my best." It was a respectful but direct critique. The reply from the staff was a defensive system explanation about 2 primary ball handlers and protecting her from pressure. On the whiteboard, that sounds supportive. On the court, it felt like handcuffs. These are not just tactical choices, they are philosophical clashes. Does the team believe its star should dictate the style, or should the star bend to the coach's system? When a gap like that opens, it never stays private. Superstars do not yell, they maneuver. Photos get staged, quotes get sharpened, body language gets read like a headline, quiet discontent becomes a bargaining chip. Clark's contract says she is a fever player through 2028. That is clear. It also says nothing about what the next CBA can or cannot allow. The league and its union have already opted out of the current agreement. That means every rule is sitting on a table with red ink nearby. Salaries, opt-outs, movement, media revenue splits, travel protections, endorsement flexibility, all of it is negotiable. If the league's most valuable rookie is describing restrictions, overwork, travel strain, or lack of agency, that becomes Exhibit A. If the most watched player feels boxed in, the argument goes, how many others are suffering in silence? That turns a personal gripe into a policy problem. Clark's economic impact is impossible to ignore. When she is on the floor, ratings spike. When her jersey drops, it sells out. When she plays, ticket platforms crash. If someone like that hints at dissatisfaction, the league cannot shrug. That is leverage, even without a trade request. The goal is not to break the contract. The goal is to modify the environment the contract lives in. Introduce early renegotiation triggers for generational stars. Allow for conditional opt-outs if revenue thresholds are met.
This strategy only works if the player is undeniable. Clark is exactly that. Before college, she was already flashing on the international stage. At under 16 and under 19 USA events, she averaged close to 10 points a game in limited minutes and showed vision beyond her years. By 2021, she was leading those teams, putting up more than 14 points and nearly 6 assists. Proving she was not just a shooter, but a floor general. Her Iowa chapter is already folklore. 139 straight starts, 28.4 points a night across 4 seasons, 31.6 and almost 9 assists in her final year. She did not nudge Iowa up the ladder. She hauled the program onto the national main stage and dared fans to look away. Deep threes from the logo were not stunts, they were strategy. She masterfully ran an offense and fed teammates while still setting scoring records. The WNBA debut could have buckled under pressure. Instead, she averaged 19.2 and led the league in assists at 8.4. The hype met production, which is the rarest collision in sports. Year 2 brought harder traps and more attention. Her scoring dipped a tick, her playmaking climbed. That is growth, not regression. 2 playoff games and she still put up 18 and 8.5, numbers that show she is ready for big stages, not afraid of them. Even exhibitions turned to events. In Iowa against Brazil, she pulled from 36 feet, a step beyond the painted 22 Clark tribute that marks where she broke the college scoring record. She was playing on a bad leg, rode a stationary bike to stay warm, and still gave the crowd a moment they will tell their kids about. That is star power in real time. So when her agent argues that the system must bend for talent like this, the counter argument is weak. She is not a good prospect. She is a revenue engine. She is proof that the old structures are too small. Why fight this battle now if Clark technically cannot move until 2028? Because the contract is locked, but the future rulebook is not. The minute the new CBA is signed, the landscape freezes for years. If you want flexibility later, you carve it in now. Think about early opt-outs tied to performance or revenue impact. Think about rookie deals that automatically escalate or loosen restrictions if certain benchmarks are hit. Think about clauses that give top players influence over staff hires or offensive schemes. Think about codified protections around travel, rest, and media demands that prevent burnout. Think about revenue sharing on merch that scales when a player's name outsells half the league. Every one of those ideas sounds radical until it is in writing. Then it becomes standard. Kane is not waiting for 2028. She is crafting a 2026 and 2027 world where Clark and her peers can choose fit without being branded disloyal, where freedom is not a favor but a framework.
If Indiana adapts, Clark could stay and turn the Fever into the laboratory everyone else copies. They would shift their offense to her strengths, pack the roster with shooters who cut and bigs who seal, bring in assistants fluent in modern spacing, and treat her like the CEO she is. That is the happy ending for Hoosiers. If the super team era arrives, a coastal giant like New York or Los Angeles could clear space and offer Clark a fully weaponized roster. Imagine Clark throwing skip passes to Sabrina while Stewart screens and pops, or feeding Asia Wilson in Vegas while Kelsey Plum bombs from the corner. The television money that would follow is hard to fathom. If a Midwest rival decides to seize the moment, Chicago or Minnesota could pitch a brainy, balanced roster with smarter spacing and healthier structure, keeping Clark close to home but far from Indiana. There's also the possibility that the players collectively push for a new model entirely. Shorter deals, heavier incentives, real revenue splits, movement that is celebrated, not condemned. The league becomes fluid on purpose. Fans tune in for storyline chaos and parity dies, but maybe that is the cost of growth. The only thing that cannot happen anymore is nothing. The status quo is gone. That window closed the day Clark's agent showed up in the wrong tunnel at the right time. Caitlin Clark has not blasted her coach on camera. She has not subtweeted the front office. She has not skipped practices or demanded trades. She let a photo carry the message. She let a statistic expose the timeline. She let a living document called the CBA become the real court. Erin Kane is not picking a fight. She is choreographing a shift. If the face of your league feels boxed in, she is saying the league needs a bigger box. Fix it now, or watch her walk when the doors finally unlock. And understand that she will not walk alone. 87.5% of the elite talent will be right behind her with suitcases. So what do you believe happens first? Do the Fever pivot and unleash her completely, proving small markets can evolve and thrive? Or does Clark stay quiet, keep stacking assists, and then detonate the market in 2026 with a move that rewrites every front office handbook? Drop your take. Does she stay and force Indiana to grow, or does she leave and force the league to change? If you're with player power, type 100 in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on alerts because the next random tunnel photo or offhand quote might make this one look tame. Greatness does not wait for permission. It writes rules. Right now, the pen is in Caitlin Clark's hand, and the ink is already drying.